I didn't always have a bull terrier. I had a kitten about almost 10 years ago. I got him when I was 19. So yeah, almost 10 years ago. And he was an orange tabby Maine Coon mix. I was seeing a gal at the time. She was 17. Ew. I dated a 17-year-old when I was 19. Wow. It's because of my childlike disposition. We had so much in common. And that didn't last long, actually. But the cat stuck around. Big cat. Grew into be a big cat. I got him in front of a 7-Eleven. I knew he was the one. I saw that cat. People say that, but they don't really mean it. They don't, I mean it. I saw him. This cat stood out. He was the only one in the box that they were giving him away, right? He was the only one in the box without poop all over him and shit all over his body. And he was a hell of a cat. It seems like the animals I choose, they have these crazy personalities. I think it has something to do with the environment I bring them up in. I mean, I'm walking around, you know me, or you don't, actually, probably not. In fact, I'm reaching a wider audience now. Proud to say aloud to inform you. Although when you're informed of something, it's generally not like great news. But I am proud to say that I will be reaching a radio audience here soon. If not right now, you're listening to me in the future from the Ventura area. Well, bless all of you. Or not if you don't like me. Then, I'll just carry on as usual, which is pretty much what I am doing now. Anyway, you'll get it. You can catch up. The show's called Roy Ellison. This is redundant for the folks already listening. This is why I shouldn't even, I'm like an Ouroboros snake eating itself. Some pagan symbolism. We see that all the time, though, huh? In the medical symbol. That the snakes looking at each other. That's some ancient mystery school shit. You ever see Conan the Barbarian? I'm looking for these snakes that look at each other. James Earl Jones morphs into a reptile. So anyway, business as usual. This cat, and I couldn't take care of him forever. I had to give him to my sister, and she had him for years. This cat was ridiculous. He, would have so many misadventures, laying in a sink full of Drano. You get third-degree burns that way, cat. He got him. She moved around the country with him until it was probably too much, and eventually he ran away. And I just learned of that. So it's the end of an era. So, Mo, if you're out there, I feel responsible for your fate because I pulled you out of a cardboard box. You weren't covered in shit until you shit all over yourself at home. I might as well have gotten another cat, but I didn't. I got you. Might as well have gotten a shitty cat. It probably didn't have any shit all over it, or shit inside its body. I'm sorry, I have to get used to radio. So, Mo, if you're out there, I feel responsible for you. And I want you to know that you don't listen to podcasts. Fuck it. Man, so many rude people here just this week. I had 2 terrible Uber rides. These Uber drivers are getting really entitled, is what it is. I mean, excuse me. I hate to be that guy, okay, where I get in an Uber and... What? I asked the guy to turn down his music, and he just says no. He just said no. There's some hip-hop or something. I said, wait, what is this, a democracy or a fucking service business? He's like, oh, it's a democracy. I'm like, no, you're just repeating what I said. This is classic, gaslighting bullshit. I said that. So he decided to take the, I'm really cool, and I'm not going to get all heated. I'm just going to aggravate this guy because I get to listen to my music. He's a jerk. I asked another guy to turn his music off. And I get in. He's like, yeah, you want to hear anything in particular? I've got, country? We got jazz here or classical? You like classical? I said, actually, you know what? Certain rides like this, long rides to this, I was going to Glendale or something. I said, I could use some peace and quiet to clear my mind. He said, oh, no, can do. I can't do quiet. I was like, well, what the fuck do you think this is? It's like, what? I'm sorry, you refuse to indulge me? As I'm the one paying here? He's about to set this guy on fire. I have to cater to listening to whatever ends up on the radio, whether I like it or not, the music or not, because you have voices in your head you need to drown out, man? It was so rude. This happened twice in a week. I snapped on the second guy. I said, what is this, a democracy or a service business? So it's a democracy. I'm like, yeah, well, you'd think so. It's actually a democratic republic we live in. And it's capitalist. I'm paying. I left the worst thing I could. 1 star. You want to give them no stars. You want to give them negative stars on fire. You want to give them a bag of crunched up dog biscuits and spit. I wanted to give him a swift tug on the nose ring. But he was a black guy. I was like, I can't just get on this guy's case. It's going to turn into a thing. It's going to be a thing. I stopped at the service business line. It would have just been me like, well, gosh, I'm just so up at you. Well, and he's so cool. He was so cool. So there we sat, listening to this upbeat hip hop music. It was he knew like I was pissed. But he wasn't going to do anything about it, and he just made the ride terrible for me. When I got home, I realized, oh shit, I drove to the Groundlings where I was getting picked up from. I got to get another Uber back and drive back. I never drive. I forgot. I was expecting a ticket. Didn't get it. So something tells me I was supposed to have a mild stroke out of disbelief and grief. Delicious food. May I make a suggestion if you're ever eating in the Hollywood area? It's called the Moon of Tunis. Or is it Tanis? No, it's not a planet. I didn't go to another planet and dine. Well, you remember that date I mentioned I was going to have last week. Well, didn't have it. I had it on my own. It was nice. She suggested a restaurant, and when I texted her, she didn't respond. It is my suspicion that she heard last week's podcast where I was talking about her, this unnamed old friend of mine. It's kind of awkward. But you know, baby, there's no other person. It's just you and me. Podcast. I don't want anybody else. She means nothing. I wouldn't lie to you. I'd tell you everything. Come here, give me a kiss. So I went to Moon of Tunis. Tanis. Well, that place is it's very comfortable. I'll say that. Delicious food. But you're encouraged to eat like a heathen. It's Moroccan Casablanca food. We're talking interesting, little baked things inside of, I can't even describe it. It's like meats inside of this baked crust of a pie. And you're supposed to share everything. I did not realize when I sat down that I would be needing to order a full-blown 5-course meal. And it was that kind of restaurant. So I said, hey, it's a self-love date. Here I sit between a family of tourists, parents and one boy, and a double date on the other side. Oh, man, with the obnoxious Australian lady. So many Australians in L.A. Well, I got to say, they're Valley Girls. They're equivalent of they're Sydney, I don't know, what would you call them, like Outback broads or the desert girls. They're little dingo ladies. Those ladies, with their voices, they're obnoxious. They're kind of like beach bums, right? There's a lot of beach atmosphere in Australia. I've got to say, the most vapid of your Australians, Australia, they're particularly vapid. I knew I wouldn't be able to describe it or do an impression, so I recorded it.
He could not even remember how to say gracias for the whole 2 weeks we were in Spain. He kept going gracias, which is Italian, which he is, but he doesn't speak Italian. He just go gracias, and he struggled. So day 2, he's like, cool, I don't think we're gonna.
Yeah. So here I sit, noshy, one course after another. I am getting full, and I'm doing it all with my hands. I'm eating with my hands like an animal. And it occurred to me, well, this is how they do it. I don't know how they, no wonder they don't have skyscrapers. Sorry, I'm not gonna I'm not shitting on every aspect of your culture, but utensils. Come on, Morocco. They gave me a little bowl of chutney or some sort of spicy chutney stuff that they have, and it had a tiny serving spoon. I said, yes. I began to sneak a spoon to use for the purpose it was made. This tiny spoon. I'm eating my salad with a tiny spoon because they expect me to do it with my hands. And, I don't want to be rude. You want to enjoy the food for its culture, the way it was meant to be enjoyed, apparently. That's what was going through my mind as the waiters coming in and out of the dining area. Oh, I don't want him to see me eating my food with a spoon. I'll be considered rude by the guy with baggy crotch pants. I'm just saying, no wonder the continent sucks because, besides the fact we gave him AIDS. But there's something about eating with your hands. It makes you feel like a boss. Like a giant. Like, oh, this is delicious. You're the king. You're the king of the restaurant. I don't know, in the Middle East, they must be sitting on the floor eating. Traditionally they do, right? They don't have tables like we do. So it's not weird to say. So they're sitting on the floor and they're eating, hand over fist. And everybody's a king. Surrounded by tapestries. They've got tapestries on the wall. It's a very cozy life. And they wear those harem pants, and we're doing it too. We need to be careful. We're just a couple pounds away from everybody saying, hey, what's the point of these restrictive jeans? I'm always unbuttoning the top, walking around. Can't I just have something loose and comfortable, and the entire culture will shift? We will start wearing harem pants every day, just like they do in the Middle East. Heck, sweats are basically they're just pants now. They're just as good as pants. As far as everybody's concerned, apparently. Here was the awkward part of the whole dinner. There's always got to be an awkward part. There's this kid. He's on vacation. He's practically next to me. It's very cozy and intimate here. Well, the music comes, it just turns on immediately. It's this shocking music. Everybody's shocked, and we're looking around. What the hell is happening? Belly dancer comes out. And she could be the owner's wife. Like his trophy wife. Because she's in her 50s. I don't know, like, what business this lady had here. She must have been part of the family. But she's a belly dancer in her 50s, and that's a different kind of dance. I don't consider belly dancing a family affair. Like a family spectating event. But it became one for this tourist family. I knew they were tourists because they said something to the belly dancer, like, oh, we got an early flight. The dad, you know. Here she is. The kid, the boy, is intent watching this, you know, middling, probably too old to party lady. Just watching her body. She's got this kind of, you know, wavy tummy, but it also has the extra skin. You could tell she had bore children at some point in her life. The skin, you know how it gets nice and loose right there on the stomach. So she's, you know, doing the wave with her tummy in and out, and it seems kind of forced. It's like, oh, damn, you're losing your muscles there, lady. But you lost them maybe years ago, and they just never grew back. And then there's the skin, and it's doing its own wave, so you got like 2 layers of waves happening. And this kid's loving it. He's like, wow, so much activity. And everybody, she had ones in her harem pants, in the side of her harem pants. The kid got up, picked up one of the ones that had fallen on the ground and tried to put it in her pants, and she just kind of grabbed it out of his hand, or, you know, like took it out of his hand and said, thank you. Continued her dance, continued her nearly 60-year-old belly dance. She'd go from one dining area to the other. All conversations stop when the 58-year-old belly dancer is in the room. All eyes on the lady you did not expect to see dancing while you were eating. That was my cue to exit the moon of Tanis. But I'll never forget it. Yeah, I ate a 5-course meal. You're dang right I'm gaining weight. Hey, I'm a hypocrite. I've got harem pants and sweatpants. But I don't leave the house in them. And look, I totally get leaving the house in them. Okay, so I'll go downstairs and, you know, get something from the vending machine. Or maybe I'll go to Rite Aid next door in sweatpants. I've done that before. Okay. You gotta believe me, though. We gotta fight it. We gotta fight wearing sweatpants all the time. It could possibly mean the end of our civilization. I'm afraid we're getting too comfortable. It's a distinct possibility. They've got really loose, baggy pants for men and women. Well, mostly men, because women don't wear pants in the Middle East. Many places in the Middle East. I don't know. My point is, the loose pants, they could be one of the harbingers of the downfall of a society because we're too lazy. There's something to be said about comfort on one's person while in a successful civilization. Look, I'm not saying the Middle East is completely unsuccessful. I mean, they're alive, but like, do they have Netflix? Okay, maybe that's not the picture of success, Netflix. I don't. How about I don't know, emojis? No, that's terrible too. You know, never mind. It's a fallacy. Let's just wear loose pants. It's better than a lot of these skinny pants, though. I'm seeing. I was doing some improv yesterday, and it was hard to watch. Not for the usual reasons improv is hard to watch, but because, in fact, these guys were great. One of the dudes, though, like incredibly tight pants made of pleather. It's like faux leather, and you could see the outline of his fallacy. Yeah, I need to cool it with my weight. I'm at the point where I put my pants on, and you can see the outline of my waistband on my waist when I take them off. I have a full-blown episode every time I put them on. It's like, oh, God, I used to be able to suck in my gut and look like it was in the Holocaust or something. Like, look legitimately skinny. Now I suck in my gut and it looks like a slow motion, like a freeze frame of my midsection after it's been smacked by a giant piece of rebar or something. But you don't see the rebar. You just see my concaved, gelatinous, fat tummy all hooked like the letter C. But the fat's there. You can see that. People have their pieces all exposed through the curvatures of their tight pants. I really believe we are experiencing the decline of Western civilization, and I see it at home. My dad, a baby boomer who was just classic, raised, very stoic, classic dad, right? You sit in your chair, hard day's work, watch TV, go back to work, be better, son, boop boop. Well, he's starting to use emojis now. It's because he doesn't text, right? He's the strong silent type, so he uses emojis. Like a little girl. Talk about Ouroboros. This snake just ate its butt. But he still is, like, stoic and snarky as ever. Even with emojis. I'll text him, and say, oh, Dad, this happened and this happened. Just give me a thumbs up. Ooh. Yeah, my body. It's changing. I got these hairs. My hair on my head is experiencing a new renaissance because the short and weak ones from the front line, they've officially died. You know how generally a lot of people have those tiny little short hairs in the front. Well, mine are going thin. Mine are almost gone. Those short hairs. So the hairs that were behind them have a new profile. They are the ones on display now. So, yes, my hairline is shifted ever further back, yet my hair seems thicker than ever because you're not seeing the dead ones in the front anymore. Now they're all, like, really, it feels weird. I have all these long hairs on top. It's called a sugar rush, and it will subside when I wake up in the morning one day to find all of my hairs have fallen out. In fact, not even all, just the important ones there in the middle of the head where there's no going back. I don't want to have that little desert island, a little boop on my noggin like a troll doll. No, I've seen people super thin on top, like incredibly thin, like radiation, like you've been scorched. You got a burn victim thing going. It's nothing flattering. But they're in denial about it, and they refuse to shave their hair. I'm talking about men. With women, I would be in denial, too. You know what? I don't know, ladies, what you can do. Female pattern baldness. I know who you can blame is your grandfather on your mother's side. That's the guy responsible for everyone's hair. I looked into it. I was probably 16, looking in the mirror like, give me a name. Who did this? Yeah, things are going to hell. We had Halloween a couple days ago. I don't dress up. Whatever. But I thought it was fascinating how many Jessica Rabbits there were online. Oh my gosh. In different incarnations, in different styles of dress. There's the crappy Jessica Rabbit who just got a purple cotton dress. Nice try. Red rubber gloves. It's not appropriate. I get it. She had red gloves and was animated. It's hard to tell what they were probably made of, but they were definitely probably satin or something. I think you're getting the rubber gloves from the bad guy in that movie mixed up with Jessica Rabbit's luxurious gloves girl I saw on Facebook wearing a crappy purple dress and red rubber gloves. They were cartoony looking in the sense that they were funny. No, this is why we're in the decline of civilization, because actual businesses are closing on Halloween for the sake of Halloween. I couldn't get a coffee at the place I usually would get coffee when I'm at the Groundlings because it was what, some kind of special holiday. Aren't you business owners? Now I need to pull my advertising from there, or they're gonna hear this. They're super sweet. I'm just like, Halloween. I forget that people aren't actors, so they need to get their fantasy on somehow. It boggles my mind. But there are people who dress up practically like every day of the year. You want to talk about wearing sweatpants in public? How about the people who wear frickin' onesies and take themselves seriously at all? It was probably 7 years ago. I was at a party and some guy was wearing a onesie, and it was not Halloween. He had like a bunny ears on a hood. He looked like Ralphie in A Christmas Story. You're like, how do you get taken seriously? Oh, you don't. I see. And you're happy there. You're happy like that. You tried to pick a fight with me. I was in shock. I had a date at the time I brought, and she was, really meek, taciturn, pacifist type gal. Everyone was like ganging up on her, making jokes about her and stuff in the middle of this party. And I eventually, I was like, "Hey, leave her alone!" Except, it didn't even sound like that. I think my voice went a little shrill. I was shocked at like how brutal these people were. I was like, "Hey, you leave her alone!" Something like, I don't know. And then they laughed at me, and then we walked out. There we stand outside. This guy comes out, and he's like, "Hey, nice voice." And I was like, "Nice hat." You see grown adults wearing SpongeBob SquarePants backpacks, like men. Like, what is this? Finally, this week, I went to the movies and didn't get to see a movie, but I was looking forward to watching Mandy with Nick Cage, which I've seen before, but I was invited, and the tickets were paid for. I was invited by my friend Dan, and there I am waiting in front of the movie theater, and I'm on the sidewalk, and it occurred to me, like, oh my god, I can't believe, how can people just like stand around and like it? Like homeless people, like you try to stay busy. I respect the homeless guy who like sweeps up the parking lot. We have so much going on in our heads. I can't imagine like anybody else not being like that. I mean, like, we need to burn our energies to sit or stand on the sidewalk, and that people have been doing that, I guess, for a long time, right? Well, you'll never amount to nothing. You'll just be standing on the corner like you always do. That there are people who do that. Just stand. Well, I would hate to be one. I was going crazy waiting for my friend. Well, he shows up. We get inside. Apparently, the movie had started 2 hours earlier, and one of us was misinformed. I'll say it was him. Damn Fandango. He mentions that to the gal, and she's typing up a storm. She's like, oh yeah? No problem. Let me check. She's typing. What? How much could you be typing? When someone says, "Oh, let me check on that," and just continues to type for 30 seconds, there's nothing that they are doing. Like at a hotel. Oh, let me check on that for you, Mr. Ellison. You're not doing. What are you typing? You doing binary code? Is there some sort of story you have to write to access the information? I just don't believe them. I think there's this great customer service lie. Because this was a movies lady. This lady worked at the movies. How much stuff do you have to type? It wasn't like, she must have been going to Fandango.com or something, but like, it doesn't take as long as she was on the keyboard to type Fandango.com. Without pausing, waiting for any load screen. No, she just... it was long enough, too, for me to just kind of stand there and look at her. I was like, what are you even doing, lady? I want to thank you for your listenership, and I want to thank Sweden and the UK, where a third of my listeners are. Hey, you're all wonderful, and I love the weather of your countries. Should there be any aspect of your culture or country or lifestyles you want me to address, talk about, I'll do my research. You guys just let me know. Find me on the internet. Coming to you from the middle of Hollywood in what is known as the Bell Tower to myself and my friends. I'm Roy Ellison.